Hi, Lyft drivers. I'm Stacy. Some of you might know my name if you have access to the Facebook Lounge, so good to see ya. We're just going to go over a few basics today. It'll mostly be stuff that your mentors probably already went over with you, so kind of a review, but it might get your brain juices flowing and coming up with some questions that you might have about Lyft. There is a Q&A section where you can ask your questions, so feel free to go ahead and start throwing those in there. If you have questions that come up while I'm talking, feel free to go ahead and type them out and submit them, and then as soon as I'm done, it'll take like 10-15 minutes. I'll just do a Q&A with you guys and answer any questions you may have, and I will stick around until 11:45 and get those questions answered for you. So I do have a little slideshow. Some of you may know if you've been here before that I always have tech issues with it, and for some reason I have a hard time sharing it with you guys. So give me 1 second here while I troubleshoot and get our slideshow going. Okay. That is definitely not the screen we want to share. And if you guys have issues like hearing me or anything like that, just let me know. Feel free to put it in the questions section. I have learned, however, that I think things are delayed. So if you do put in a question, I think it comes up on my end like 3 to 5 minutes later, unfortunately, which makes it a little bit challenging to know if I'm having any real-time issues with you guys here. Okay, so I am going to attempt to share my screen with you guys. But like I said, there tend to be issues. So if you can't see the slides, not the end of the world. It's not so much about the visuals that it is about what I'm saying. 1 sec, guys. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow right now. I think I'm having a tough internet connection. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, but I don't know that it's going to work, so pretend that you can see my pretty slides even if you can't. So welcome to Lyft. I'm super excited to have you guys. We're going to go over a little bit of Lyft culture and community, day in the life of a Lyft driver, and just a few little pro tips. Again, this is probably stuff that your mentors have already gone over with you guys, but just want to make sure we cover all our bases here. So Lyft is your friend with a car. It's generally cheaper than a cab and a lot more fun, and it's a community movement. We like to delight our passengers with service and present kind of a best friend mentality. We encourage passengers to sit up front or not. They don't have to. You'll notice some passengers choose to sit in the back, and that's totally fine as well. But we do encourage them to sit up front. We play good music for our passengers, and we let passengers DJ if they choose to do so. We do provide an auxiliary cable that comes in your welcome kits, so you do have the option of passing that over to your passenger and letting them plug that into their phone and playing their own tunes if they want. We also encourage you to pick up phone charging cables for Androids and iPhone. It's really awesome when you can offer your passengers a charge. Everybody's phones are always dying, could always use a little extra juice, and it's just a great way to kind of go a step further for them. Definitely smile and drive safely. I'm going to kind of close out of my screen real quick and see. It looks like you guys might be seeing my slides, so that's a good sign. But if not, it's totally okay. Okay, so fist bumps, definitely part part of the Lyft culture. That's a big one. We encourage you to greet your passengers with a fist bump. And in the Lyft with a fist bump as well. It's just a really great icebreaker. It kind of sets the mood for the ride, setting it in kind of a friendly frame of mind, breaking the ice, letting passengers know that you are their friend with a car. So we definitely encourage you to do that. I also make the extra effort to fist bump all my passengers, even if I've got a full house and I've got passengers in my back seat. I make the effort to fist bump everyone in the car, so definitely do that as well. Couple of little reminders. Don't squeeze extra people into your car. This can definitely become an issue on those weekend nights when you've got big groups of friends that want to travel together, and you know, you've got a group of 5 but you can only seat 4, and they really want you to just squeeze in that extra friend. They, you know, tell you they're not going very far, but definitely don't do that. It's against the law, and it's also very unsafe. Just let them know that for safety reasons, you can only take as many people as you have seatbelts in your car. And perhaps someone in that group has never taken a Lyft before, and you can encourage them to download the app and give them your referral code and get their first ride free and have them request a second Lyft for the second half of the group. Leave your puppy at home. That goes for kids, roommates, mom, friends, all that stuff too. Make sure that all of your seats are available for potentially having a group of passengers. Make sure everyone buckles up. If you're in any kind of fender bender, do call our support phone line. Keep it positive when you're talking to your passengers. Just keep the topics light and friendly, and be perceptive, because sometimes passengers are going to like it quiet, and that's okay too. Not everyone is going to want to engage in conversation. Maybe they have a lot of work to do and they just want to check some emails on their phone. Maybe they just want to zone out. We don't expect you guys to be mind readers, but do try to be perceptive and get the vibe from your passenger, what kind of experience they're looking for, and be flexible with that. This is definitely my favorite thing to encourage, expressing yourself. We really encourage you guys to be yourselves and be creative in expressing your personality in your individual Lyfts. Cindy is a longtime Lyft driver. She's one of our first Lyft drivers here in San Francisco, and she's still driving today. She's a yoga instructor outside of Lyft, and in her car she uses pink Post-it notes with positive motivational quotes and affirmations to better people's day. So, you know, she might just write "always do your best" on a pink Post-it note and stick it on her dashboard, and it's such a simple thing. It doesn't cost hardly any money, and it can really be going above and beyond for your passengers and really make their day. She also offers organic sugar-free chewing gum and lavender mist for stressful days, so definitely her yoga instructor side coming out. So there's a lot you guys can do to kind of express your personalities in your Lyfts. It's not required, but it's definitely encouraged, and just remember there are lots of small ways to do this, and you don't have to be super extravagant and go above and beyond with stuff like that. So we do have a support phone number, but it's only for emergencies, so make sure you only call that phone number if you've been in an accident or have some sort of safety issue, a regulatory issue, or any kind of incident that would be considered an emergency. Otherwise, use the Contact Us button on the Help Center. So if you go to lyft.com/drive/help, that'll take you to our Help Center where you can search our really awesome, super extensive FAQs. And if you can't find your answer there, there is a button there that says Contact Us, and it'll bring you to a form where you can reach out to our team and kind of categorize your problem to help us get back to you as soon as possible. And take screenshots whenever you can if it's an issue with your phone. Some of the top support issues that we hear are just having app troubles with the app freezing, anything like that. Couple troubleshooting things. Just force quitting the app can help, and reopening it. Also, force quitting any apps that you might have running in the background, that can help as well. So just keep that in mind. Connectivity issues are another one. Don't stress out when this happens. Just try to relocate. It could just be the location you're in. One thing that always works for me is toggling airplane mode. So if you just put your phone on airplane mode and then turn it off, you're kind of refreshing all your connections on your phone, which can really help. You know, if you continually have issues, again, just take some screenshots and you can send them over to support. Lost and found is definitely another common thing we get emails about. So we actually upgraded our ride receipts for passengers so that they can reach out to you if they left something in your car. But sometimes you guys find something and maybe the passenger didn't realize that they left it in your car. If that happens, maybe give it a couple days, see if the passenger reaches out to you via the ride receipt. If not, go ahead and email support and just let us know. If you know what ride it came from, definitely give as much information as possible. Sometimes you might not find it till the end of your shift and not really know which passenger left it behind. Just kind of, give us a time frame or anything that would help, and that way we can find out who it belongs to. So just want to go over ratings for a second. Ratings do matter a lot, but don't stress out about it. Most people do rate 5 stars, and as long as you're a 4.8 or higher, you're doing amazing. And we really do a lot to be transparent on your driver summaries with how you can improve and how you are doing. So pay attention if you start getting low ratings, seeing what kind of things passengers are flagging you for. If a passenger rates you 4 stars or lower, they're presented with 4 areas of improvement that they can choose from, and those are safety, navigation, friendliness, and cleanliness. And that's just kind of a thing that we implemented because not all passengers are going to write feedback, but we want to give you the opportunity to improve. So we present those towards passengers so they can easily indicate in what areas you can improve and give you guys a better idea of how you can raise your star rating. And this is just a little FYI, but 3 stars or lower means that you won't be matched again, and that works both ways. So you guys rate your passengers at the end of the ride as well, and if you rate a passenger 3 stars or lower, you'll never be matched with them again, and same goes if a passenger rates a driver 3 stars or lower. And just a couple little tips on maximizing your Lyft loot. Drive during peak hours. This is going to vary a little bit by city, but for the most part, it's morning and evening commute times during the week. Weekends, and especially weekend nights, those late night Friday and Saturday nights are always going to be the busiest in every city. Make sure to accept every request you receive, so don't be in driver mode unless you're ready to take all the requests that come your way. Go above and beyond for your passengers. You guys will find your own unique and creative ways to do this. Always use navigation and wait in optimal locations. So this just means, if you've got like a downtown area with like a nice stretch of bars, that's probably a good spot to hang out on a Friday night. In San Francisco, we've got the financial district. That's great for morning commutes and evening commutes. So just kind of, talk to other drivers in your city if you're not sure, but and wait in those areas where it's likely to be busiest. Couple things to avoid. Never accept cash. Sometimes a passenger wants to tip you in cash, and that's great that they want to tip you. We don't make tipping feel required for passengers, but some of them will. If they do try to give you cash, just let them know it is against our terms of use, and drivers can be deactivated for accepting it. Just show them how to add a tip in the app. It's super easy, and that'll kind of give you a chance to educate a passenger on how the app works. And on that note, don't request tips. Definitely an awkward thing for a passenger to experience if a driver is requesting tips, so don't do that. Don't accept personal calls when you've got a passenger in the car. Pretty obvious one, but always a good reminder. And only accept rides that come from within the app. So sometimes, people see that pink mustache and they know that means that you're a person that could potentially give them a ride home, and they might try to wave you down on the side of the road. Make sure that you're only picking up people whose ride requests have come to you through the app. So driver mode, you can use the steering wheel on the top right corner of your app, or you can toggle in and out of driver mode from the menu. Use this for obviously getting in and out of driver mode, but also for when you need to take breaks. Even if you're going to take just a quick bathroom break or a quick gas fill up, make sure you go out of driver mode when you are not behind the wheel. And inside your car, always a good idea to have your phone mounted and charging. It's important for safety reasons that you are hands-free. It can make a passenger feel really uncomfortable if you're holding your phone in your hand and looking down at your navigation while driving. Just make sure you have it mounted. You do get a phone mount in your welcome kit from Lyft, but I highly, highly advise if you don't have one, picking one up while you're waiting for your welcome kit kit to come, I would strongly advise against lifting without a phone mount. And definitely have it plugged in and charging, because that app is definitely going to use a lot of your battery. Make sure your car is clean on the inside and out, and make sure that your seats and trunk are clear and free of clutter. And same with the floor of your car. Make sure you don't have stuff on the floor, stuff in the seats, stuff in the trunk. Sometimes you might get passengers who have a lot of luggage and they'll need that trunk space. So just make sure everything's clean and tidy. So navigation is super important. When you do accept a ride request, make sure to always use the navigate button to get to your passenger. Keep in mind that they can watch you from their end and see which route you're taking to get to them. So if you're not taking the most efficient route as given to you by navigation, it might be frustrating for them to see that you're going, a weird way. And just switch back to the Lyft app once you arrive and tap to arrive, and the ride will begin shortly after. And again, always a good idea to use navigation when you're going to your passenger's destination as well, unless they just have some sort of preferred route that they want to guide you on. That's fine too. After a ride, not sure if you guys are seeing the slides, so no big deal if not, but if you are, just a little heads up that these are actually really old screenshots, so the app looks a lot different than this now. But you will rate a passenger when you're done on your end, and the passenger will rate you and also submit their payment. And just a little note about referral bonuses. Some cities have referral bonuses for referring new drivers, some do not. The best way to know if your city has one and what it is, if so, is either check on your driver summary. It's listed on there, but also if you log into the driver portal, you just go to lyft.com/login, and you go to the referrals section. It actually lists all the cities and what the current referral bonus is, if there is one. It's good to know, if you've got friends in other cities too, what you can earn by referring new drivers. Just keep in mind that the only way that you can be qualified for that bonus is if they apply via your personal referral link. This is also found in that referral section of the driver portal, and it's also listed on your driver summaries. And once they apply via your referral link, it'll be logged as you being their referral, and then they have to complete 20 rides within 30 days for each of you to qualify for the bonus if your city does have a bonus. So this is it for my little tidbit here. Let me get back to my screen here for you. And then you guys can start asking questions away. Oh, usually I have a ton of questions in here already. Where are they? So there's a little Q&A blurb on the side of your screen. There should be. There is on mine. On the left side. Definitely click that. That should open up the side where questions can come through. Sometimes they come through in a different area, so I'm just going to double check here for you to make sure. I also noticed that some folks had to ask questions in the beginning beforehand, which is fine, but I don't usually get to those because there are usually a lot of questions coming through in the main part. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm not missing any questions anywhere. I usually have 20 questions by now, and I'm literally only seeing one. Okay, so I did jot down a couple of questions that I saw asked before I even started the Hangout, so I just want to address those really quick. I don't know if those of you who asked them are watching, but maybe you have the same questions, so I'm just going to throw them out there. JK was asking about connectivity issues that happen while you're in a ride. Sometimes if our server has lost connection with your phone, you'll get a warning text from Lyft saying that we've lost connection, and if it doesn't get fixed, that we will end the ride automatically. This just means that your phone has stopped sending ride updates to us, to our server, and we're not able to track the ride anymore, which is obviously very important for you to get paid, right? I know it's frustrating to get that text message while driving because obviously we don't want you, messing with your phone while driving. So as much as as much of an inconvenience as it probably is. I would highly recommend just pulling over and maybe toggling airplane mode to try to refresh your connection. I think you were asking if it was an issue with like on our end or your phone. It's usually a problem with the phone carrier. So maybe check in on that. If you do want to talk to someone from our support team who handles stuff like that, definitely just email support@lyft.com, especially if you're experiencing that frequently for some reason, and they'll help troubleshoot with you. Salim from Orlando said that Lyft was super busy this weekend for Labor Day, and then the rides just vanished. Sounds like maybe this was your first weekend driving, which is pretty awesome. Welcome. It's definitely going to fluctuate a lot. Orlando's still a fairly new city as well, but how busy it is on the road is just going to fluctuate with time of day, day of the week, even times of year. You know, a lot of times during the holidays it gets a lot slower. It just depends on a lot of things. So one thing is, yeah, I mean, after the weekend ends, it's definitely a lot quieter during the week. Keith said that he got his welcome kit and he was disappointed to not receive the car stash. Yeah, so we've actually started shipping out the cuddle stash instead of the car stash, which some people are really excited about, but some people are a little bummed about not getting the car stash. Unfortunately, we aren't shipping the car stash, the full-size car stash, to anyone anymore. But your follow-up to that question was, has Lyft ever considered having some sort of store for Lyft drivers, some sort of online store? And yes, it's definitely something we've talked about a lot, and we do have some ideas in the works where you guys can come online and buy special Lyft swag. I think that's a great idea, and it's definitely something that we're working on. I don't know how soon. I definitely don't have an ETA for you, but it's something you can definitely expect in the future. But there won't be car stashes on it, so if that's why you were asking specifically, then no, that won't be on there. And Patrick Gibbons, quite the opposite of Keith, says that he does not want to put a pink mustache on his car. So Patrick, as if you're here, you may have just heard me say that the full-size car stash doesn't come in the welcome kits anymore. It's just the cuddle stash. It's, you know, about this big, and you put it on your dashboard. So hopefully that's a little more usable for you. Still a pink mustache, however, it's just a lot smaller. Okay. So those were just some questions that I saw in the beginning, but I'm wondering if we're having an issue with the Q&A feature, because usually I get a lot of questions, and I'm not really having any. Kaden just asked, are we allowed to make our own stash? No, you're not. I definitely check out our Q&A, our FAQ in the help center at lyft.com/drive/help. Type in trademark, and that'll pull up our FAQ about use of Lyft's logos and all the things that we've got trademarked there, so you are not able to create your own. But thank you for asking. That's a really great question. Kaden, are you the only one that's going to ask questions? Also, keep in mind that the questions that you guys do type in are delayed on my end, so if you have submitted a question and I'm sitting here talking about how I don't see any, that's probably because they just haven't come through on my end yet. You can also open, so there's like the Q&A thing on the left, and there's also a chat option. You can use either of those. I think the chat ones come in a lot quicker than the questions on the Q&A one. And I'm also just going to look at the Hangout page real quick to see if there were any questions I missed. Kaden says, if you guys haven't seen 5-star, I think you mean 5-star feedback by Lyft on YouTube, watch them. Oh my gosh, I was dying laughing. Yeah, definitely check out 5-star feedback on YouTube because it's hilarious. I'm sure you guys have already experienced getting like tons of silly feedback from passengers, which is always really exciting, and we take our favorites and the really funny ones and make these really cool videos of them. Oh, so Kaden says we are stuck in the showcase tab. They need to click on the 9 little boxes next to the profile picture. So apparently Kaden has the solution and I do not. I see the showcase tab, but I don't see how I can turn it off if that's what will help. But hopefully, Caden, your advice will help others. I'm just going to scroll through and see if I missed any other questions from the beginning. These look like all the ones I already saw. Caleb, why are you the only one that knows how to post questions right now? Because I can see that plenty of other people are watching. I say this every time, but I feel like I need just like a tech support person like on hand right here when I'm doing this every time. Raul Acosta, in for the new question. Hi, why haven't I gotten paid yet? Well, I couldn't tell you. I can't take the time to look into your specific history right now. So I would email pay@lyft.com and check in with them. If you mean yet, as in today is Wednesday and you're expecting to get paid today, I would hold off on emailing. The pay period is Monday to Sunday, but we make our deposits on Tuesdays, and when you receive it depends on your bank. So some drivers receive theirs midnight Tuesday, like first thing when Wednesday hits, and some drivers might not receive theirs until Friday. So it just depends on your bank, and usually when there's a holiday on a Monday, because banks are closed, there's like a little bit of a delay. So if you have gotten paid normally by this time, it's probably just that there's a delay with your bank. So if that's what it is, you're just wondering why your deposit isn't there yet, I would hold off on sending an email, and if you don't see it by Friday for some reason, check in with pay@lyft.com. But you can also check in with your bank too. Okay, William says I have to enable it. I don't know what you mean by enable. I've already enabled Q&A, so I don't know why. And some of you guys are submitting, so I don't know why it's not working. Leela says I'm trying to figure out how to see the video and ask questions together. Oh no. Oh, there's a good question. Why can't we block people that always cancels? Cancels are getting bad. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling through to see what other questions we have. The one about cancellations, so cancellations are definitely just like a normal part of lifting, so try not to sweat it. I know it's super frustrating, especially when you're seeing the same person canceling over and over again, and you're like, what's wrong with my face? Why do you keep canceling on me? But it's going to happen, especially in new markets. So if you're in a new Lyft city, people aren't really sure what the app is. They're playing with it. They see this big request button and they press it, and then they're like, oh my God, I didn't know it was actually going to bring a driver to me, and then they cancel really quick. So it's actually a good thing. I mean, that means that people are playing with the app, figuring out how to use it. But no, there isn't a way for you to block someone who's just consistently canceling. And I mean, you never know. They might have some sort of good reason for why they're canceling. Okay. Raul says, thanks. You're welcome, Raul. Hope I answered your question. Kaden says, I can be your tech support. Question, why are you so awesome? It's probably because I have blue hair. I don't know. Kaden, be my tech support. Why aren't people answering questions or asking questions? I'm answering. I have Q&A enabled, I promise. I even keep popping into the chat section too to see if I'm missing anything over there, but I'm not. Okay. Again, William says I have to enable it, but I don't know. I have Q&A enabled. Maybe you guys have to enable it. Again, there's like a little Q&A logo right over here. It's super tiny and it's blue. Click on that. It's like the color of my hair. William, as far as new legal stuff, in Chicago, new laws just went into effect last week and we haven't gotten any sort of update about them. When will we get a note from Lyft? I'm not sure. I'm not like privy to all the. We have like so many different things regulatory wise that are going on in different cities, and I actually manage cities in Southern California. So I'm not sure what exactly is going into effect with Chicago, but trust me, like we will definitely send you guys an email if there are any changes that need to happen on your end. So don't worry about it. We will definitely keep you updated. Ah, yes. Caden is talking about Uber and Uber people canceling on Lyft drivers. Yes, that does have to do with cancellations as well. And we actually sent out an email about that. So definitely don't get disheartened. We've changed a lot of things internally to help prevent that from happening. I still just have this thing open from Caden saying that you guys are stuck in a showcase tab, and I want to get you out of it, but I don't know that I can. I think you guys have to do it. So definitely click the Q&A. I'm just going to go back to our Hangout page. Leela's confused about scheduling yourself for Lyft driving. She says, I found that it used to connect to a reliability rating, which was seen daily, but I know that that's not the case any longer. Is this track still to pick people to be mentors? Should I take the time to schedule myself and stick to it for any reason besides estimations of earnings and self-organization? Greatly worded question, Leela. No reason besides the two that you listed, earnings estimations and self-organization. So some people just like to reserve hours so that, you know, they can get reminders about when they plan to drive. And yeah, it can give you an idea of what you can expect to earn. But yeah, no other requirement besides that. And you're right, there did used to be a thing called the reliability rating, and that doesn't exist anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. And no, it's not tracked to how mentors are chosen at all. Drivers become mentors based on giving an above average number of rides and having an above average rating for your particular market. So just compared to the drivers in your own Lyft city. So it doesn't have anything to do with scheduling hours or anything like that. William says there's no Q&A next to the video thing. That's why you don't have many questions. I do this every week, and this has never happened before, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, it looks like some are happening. Can you enable me as a video person? I can talk them through it, and then I'll get off. Kaden, I wouldn't even know how to do that from my end without you being physically here. Oh, Caden's helping everyone. Leela says, thank you, Caden, I found it. I was trying to click the 9 boxes on the other page instead of in the video page. Solutions. Actually, I had to like test this Google Hangout this morning because I was having issues with it last week. And I was like, I don't want there to be issues again. And now there's issues again. And I don't know why. What time is it? 11:35. So we've got about 10 more minutes. If a few more questions trickle in, I will be happy to answer them. Feel free to just tell me about your Lyft experiences too, because I kind of want to know. I want to hear how it's going and how you guys are liking it. There's some FAQs that usually happen at this Hangout that I'm surprised no one has asked yet, so maybe I'll kind of talk about those. One thing that people usually ask is, hey, I heard about this super cool Facebook lounge for Lyft drivers and I can't access it. What's up with that? So if you signed up with your phone number instead of your Facebook, there's actually not a fix for that right now. Unfortunately, the only way you can have access to our Facebook groups is if you sign up with Facebook. We're working on a fix for it, however. One of the things I do here at Lyft is manage our online Facebook communities, and I know that it's super important to you guys to be able to connect with your fellow drivers in that way. So I'm really pushing for it. It's definitely something on the agenda, so hopefully we will implement that soon so that you guys who didn't sign up with a Facebook account can get access. That would be awesome. The person who asked about cancellations just chimed in again and said, but you get there, wait 5 minutes, call her 2 more times, waiting for 3 minutes more, and you put no show. And I drive 3 blocks, and she chimed in again. I didn't pick her up. Now I got a ding on my acceptance rate. Would just like to block them. So again, unfortunately, there isn't a way that you can just block her. I mean, if in that instance that you described, if you've gone to the pickup location, waited at least 3 minutes, and then attempted to call her, and then canceled as no-show, you will get paid the $5 no-show fee. And with her canceling on her end, there are also certain stipulations in which you'll get a cancellation fee that's charged to her in that sense as well. So we do compensate you for your time in those instances. And I mean, might just be helpful to kind of go out of driver mode for a second. Maybe she's fishing for a certain driver. I hear that this happens sometimes. I don't know why people would do that. But maybe just like pop out of driver mode for a minute or two and let her request go to someone else and then try again. Or just like move out of the area. Oh, thank you, William. William says, by you, I mean us. We need to enable it. It should be shared at the beginning of the presentation. So I've never had drivers have this many issues being able to submit questions. So I'm going to have to do some digging when we're done here and see what's going on. I've enabled Q&A, obviously. Hopefully you guys can too. Sharif asked, in the Orlando area, the new update, we can't see drivers. Instead, we see we can't see drivers since instead we should see hot areas. I have not seen any. So yeah, with forgive me if I'm interpreting your question wrong, and feel free to follow up if so, but with the new update for heat maps, you will not be able to see the other idle drivers on the road near you, but heat maps instead for when it's prime time. If you don't see any of those pink squares, that just means it's probably not prime time. You'll see them more likely in those busier times, weekend nights, morning and evening commutes, stuff like that. And yeah, just having the cars on the road slow things down, and we wanted to create a feature that would help you guys maximize your earnings and your time on the road best. And having heat maps is definitely a much better way to do that than showing you other drivers that aren't in an active ride. Kaden says, Kaden, you're just like my buddy right now on this Hangout. 165 Lyfts here. I had a lady that had a DUI, and I picked her up from her class. Sad face. She talked to me the entire ride, 25 minutes, and we talked about everything. She asked for my phone number, and I gave it to her. Now we are texting friends. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love hearing your guys' stories. Usually it's just like a lot of questions, which is great too, but I love to hear about your experiences. And that's awesome. I mean, that's too bad that she got a DUI. It's really sad that people drive under the influence, but I think that's something that's really amazing about Lyft is it helps people in her situation, but it also helps get people off the road that might otherwise be driving when they shouldn't be. So that's awesome. And now you pick her up from her classes twice a week. That's so cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Sharif says, seen the hot area option. Is that coming or it's there? It should be there. However, there are a few cities that don't have it. It's just a few, though. I mean, it's going to be smaller cities, and I don't know the list off the top of my head. I think there's maybe 10 or so. So I don't know if maybe your city is in one of those categories. If you're not seeing it, that could be the case. Can we have a pinpoint on the phone? People fat finger the screen and put the endpoint 4 to 8 blocks away, and they get mad when the ride starts blocks away. It would be nice to have a point where the phone is. I think you're just talking about like the pin being in the wrong location, and yeah, that can happen if the person's phone is having connectivity and GPS issues. It also like takes a second. I think sometimes people open the Lyft app and just request Lyft right away without letting it like update to where they currently are. There's also the little like finder button that they can click that'll like bring the pin back to where they are. You can also just tap the address and that'll open up a page where you can physically type in your specific address. But I know despite all that, there are definitely still issues with the pin being in the wrong location, or like people not realizing that by touching the map, they're moving the pin around. So we've definitely talked about some different features to make it easier for that to not happen. Kaden, I have a suggestion for a program for Lyft. Where can I submit it? I would just go ahead and submit it to support@lyft.com, or use that contact us button on the Help Center. That way it can get filtered to the correct team depending on what you're talking about. Dawn says, if you are the closest Lyft and I'm assuming that's supposed to be and don't get the Lyft, is there a reason? Yeah, if you are the closest Lyft to a passenger and for some reason it skips you over, it's probably just that your phone is having connectivity issues. The main reason I guess there are a few reasons a Lyft might not go to the closest driver. Connectivity issues, it just wasn't able to connect to your phone. Could be that the closest driver just didn't accept the request for whatever reason. And also could be, and this one's a little more uncommon, but it could be that these people were matched up before and one of them rated the other one 3 stars, so they've been prevented from being matched up again. So that could be another reason. Randall asks, when will the iPhone update come out for heat maps? It came out yesterday, so if you're in one of the cities that has it, you should definitely go to the Apple Store to upgrade. Leela has a question. What's the right procedures? Should you call every time before getting there to make sure you're in the right spot? I don't like driving around wasting their money if the pin is accidentally in the wrong place. Great question. I totally get your desire to check in with the passenger and make sure that you've got their location incorrectly. But the app was designed in a way that you don't have to call your passenger to check in. You should just head straight to the location that's been given to you in the app. The only time that you should need to call a passenger is if you're having some sort of issue, like there's a lot of traffic and you're going to take a little longer than the original estimated ETA and you want to just give them a heads up or some sort of issue like that. That said, there are some drivers who do make it a habit to just call passengers and check in while on the way. I mean, I don't want to tell you not to do that because some people are going to feel like that's the best way to go about it, but I would advise against it because it can be annoying for some passengers because they just know that, like, hey, I can just, like, hit this button and a driver is going to come my way, and then when they get a phone call, they're like, what the heck, I put in my address, like, yes, this is where I'm going. So I would advise not calling. But again, I understand how sometimes the pin can be misplaced and it can be frustrating. But like I said, we're working on things internally that should make those pin drops more accurate. So it's 11:45, and I'm going to go ahead and end it, I think. Looks like Sharif has a good question, though. Can we have an option to also add a landmark beside the drop pin? That's cool. I like that idea. Perhaps. And they can also, like I said, they can tap that address button and put in a specific place. They can even, pick the location like McDonald's and search for it and have it come up. So that should be helpful too. Thank you guys so much for participating. I'm sorry that there were perhaps tech issues that prevented you from asking your questions in the video or even seeing the video or even seeing the slides. I don't even know if you guys saw my slides. No one said that you didn't, so I'm assuming you did, hopefully. If you are in the Facebook group for new Lyft drivers, I would love you guys to post about it and tag me and Stacy with an EY and just give me your feedback. Let me know how it was. Was it helpful? And if you still have questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining and have an amazing time on the road.